What's up, everybody? I'm Jason. This is the Freebird Garage. Today's a big one. We are painting the clamshells to its final color. The black over the red pinstripe. I'm stoked. We've got a lot to do. Let's get into it. All right, so we are painting the outer shell of my FXRT fairings. We have gone through a long process to get these cleaned up. They were damaged from an accident, and we got them down to the re-pinstriping to make them look OEM for my 88 FXRT. And last video or so, I was getting these prepped and ready for the pinstriping. So what I've done is I've painted these in two lines there, like OEM would be, pretty much as close as I can get them, in the same distance, same shape, and same style of what the FXRT bags had on them. And now we're at the point where we are going to shoot over with black and get it taken care of. These are Conley fiberglass. They aren't original. We're just gonna make them look as original as possible to match the rest of my FXRT red and black bike that we got going on. All right, so let's get to mixing and then we'll pretty much get ready to shoot. Let's get taken care of. All right, so the rundown of the paint before we get started, if you're wondering where and what we're gonna do, so we're using a full paint gun system here. We wanna call it Flumatic on there instead of using any type of aerosol can. And we're gonna match it with the Perfect Coat Automotive Finish. This is a Harley-Davidson mix by my local paint supply company that makes it. He has his own mix for the Harley-Davidson's black. If you want to get a Harley black, you can pretty much get a base coat black, but if you really want to get fine-tuned, there is a paint code for most Harleys that were just straight black. I'm not talking about like a metallic in it or a sparkle into it, even just that flat looking or gloss black out there. There's a PPG code if you go through the files of Harley-Davidson, and if you go to a painter supplier, PPG, that has it or can make it for you, it's pretty pricey. So this can alone, which mimics that Harley for that mix, is right around 50 bucks for this. If you were to get it on the PPG and using their particular mix, it's right around $160, and that's a pint we're talking about. So when you get up to about a gallon, if you're doing even bigger projects, you could be looking at well over $500 for a gallon of paint. So that's a little outrageous in my opinion to be able to get just that nice black, because it's at this particular deep tone black if you match it up to other base coats blacks, if you get down into the fine tuning of what this paint actually looks like. All right, so let's get to mixing. Let's get this taken care of. All right, I actually have leftover black from I think last year, but I don't want to take any risk of doing this and having something in that paint for it sitting so long. So I just picked up another pint, and for how much we're gonna be putting on these bags, it will do just fine. All right, so 1:1. If you never used a ratio cup, we just go to our chart right here that says 1:1. And I wanna make sure that we put enough in here so that we don't have to remix again. That's one mistake I've done a bunch, is thinking that I have enough and then I realize that I don't, and then you have to remix it during your flash time. It's just a mess. So we are going to get as much as we can. So we're gonna probably go up to the 5, and that should clear us into it, all right? You know what? We'll go even up to 6 here. I want to make sure we are covered. Okay. Then we need to put our reducer in. This stuff always splashes, so I'm going to actually put this in a mixing cup first. Get down to the floor level so we can see it. Just short. There we go. All right. And we'll give this a good mix. And I have my filter up here for our pouring. Get that going. And this is our application we use for our gun. Throw our cap on, make sure it seals tight. Otherwise it makes a massive mess if you don't. All right, last checks before we go in and shoot this. This is the setup we got using my tacky cloth here, getting everything just touched up. Dust, making sure that doesn't fly anywhere. And we're set up there. We got it here. So next round, these will be all blacked out. until we pull the tape. All right, so we are 4 coats in on the base coat for black, and it's time to finally peel the pinstriping back. And I'm a little worried because I have maybe too thick of coats that are on here. We're gonna start peeling this back and see what we got, and then get it prepped for the final clear coats and show you guys. All right, so I'm gonna angle it down so you guys can see what it looks like as I peel away. Okay, it's our first line there. All right, looks good. Let's get to the other one. Pretty stoked how they look so far. I'm gonna get this showing you guys a little bit closer. There we are before the clear coat. Red popping through. Got our double lines. Kind of hard to see at this angle, but almost to the other side right now. All right, let's go get our clear coat mixed. Final step, the clear coat. That was probably more the stressful part, was trying to get the base coat laid out flat without any blemishes, and then pulling the pinstriping and just making sure everything looks good before we do the final step. Because once you lock it all in, you're pretty much sold on whatever you have. Now, if there's something gets in the clear coat after like even the first round, a bug or something, this is actually much easier to buff out and clean. As long as you do many layers of clear coat, you really have no problem going back and getting it cleaned up or buff it out, which is nice. So we are gonna be using Perfect Coat right there, same stuff as the paint that we used before, and it is a 2-to-1. So last one we did, which was a 1-to-1, and now we're gonna be doing a 2-to-1. And I wanna fill the cup, so same thing, we're gonna go, let's see here, most we can do is 5 actually. On this one it said 6, so we're gonna max it out here on this cup to make sure we are covered on here, all right? This stuff is also very nasty as far as getting in your lungs and everything. PP is always required when you're doing clear coat, even when you're doing base or sanding, whatever it is. But this, whew, you do not want it in the lungs. All right, so let's get this filled up here. We'll get to it. All right, right on the money there. And instead of using a reducer like we did for the paint, we're gonna be using an activator. And I just broke that, that's awesome. All right, and I wanna make sure, yep. So we're using the right stuff, which is the Perfect Coat to mix with the clear coat. And we're gonna get this up. There we go. All right, time to cap it off so we don't lose it all. And got a little piece in here. Get that out before it ruins the whole thing. And I've cleaned my gun very well before this, and there's times where I didn't clean it very well, and it instantly starts to mix with the clear coat and ruins the entire batch. So if you're doing this, best be wise to try to get everything as crystal clear when pouring this down. Because whatever you shoot, it's going to make anything look foggy or discolor your paint job, okay? All right, we are sealed up, and see you guys after the first couple coats. All right, it has been a long night. I've been painting probably for the last 7 hours. This video doesn't translate that well enough, so what I'm gonna just show you guys after 4 coats of clear, what we came up with, all right? Let's get out there. All right, we had to wait for the clear coat to come down, but bam!